Welcome to the HawkCast with your host, AJ Hawk.
Chris Cooley, appreciate you coming on here, man. Thanks. We had some correspondence back and forth. You made it. I was always a fan of yours from afar. Did you ever really go by, what was it, Captain Chaos?
As I say, no, I hated that. I'm literally pushing my daughter's Elmo books with my feet, and sounds are going off in the background. No. Actually, it was a joke that a friend and I had a $10 bet on that I would introduce myself at the coin toss in St. Louis as Captain Chaos to all the Rams captains. So I said, yeah, of course I will do that. Somehow the story got out, and it was in the Washington Post.
Really?
And Reebok made T-shirts.
Did you get a cut?
I think per the NFL, anything with your name on it, you get a cut. I'm not sure. Like that jersey sale deal.
Yeah.
But they weren't my shirts.
Yeah. Well, hey, what?
It worked though, I guess.
How did their captains respond when you actually did it?
They just looked at me like I was insane.
Well, that's all right. It's not.
I had hair. It was a year that I had big, dumb hair, and it was great, man. I don't care.
That's your character. You've always been that guy. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Wyoming.
But you went to Utah State.
Went to Utah State. I went to high school in Utah.
So where at in Wyoming?
If you know where Powell is, that'd be a real surprise. A lot of people know where Cody is because it's right outside of Yellowstone Park. It's opposite of Jackson Hole.
Okay.
In the far top left corner.
Were you aware of Brady Papinga when you were growing up?
I played with both of his brothers at Utah State University. Casey Papinga, his brother, was one of my really good friends.
Okay.
Had a lot of time spent together.
So did you grow up in the Mormon church?
I did not.
Really? Are you the only one?
I'm one.
One?
Went to high school in Utah. Now, most of my friends went on LDS missions, and I went to play football.
So your parents did they grow up in it?
My mom's side did, and my dad's side did not, and my mom is not.
Okay.
Mormon.
Did you ever feel pressured from them to bring you in, to suck you into the Mormon bubble?
No.
Yeah. I only know because I've had Papinga on here, and I used to room with Brady on home and away games, and Brady is an absolute character, man. He's the best. I don't. Is Casey? Do you know? Are his brothers similar to him? Because Brady claims that his brothers think he is crazy and that he is all.
No, they're very different.
Really?
They're both very different from Brady. Yeah.
So they're like just normal, aware, like probably real quiet dudes.
I wouldn't say like real quiet, but just very different than Brady. It's been a while since I've talked to either of them. I will say this about the Mormon Church: I think I have 4 conversions.
Who are? Can you name
them? 3 missionaries that have come to my house that chose to go home, and one of the guys I played with in the league, and I don't know if he is or isn't Mormon now, so I'll leave him unnamed.
Oh, I got you. So you converted them from?
Yeah, the bishop, the Mormon bishop had to come to my house and tell me to stop converting the missionaries back to being not Mormon.
What would you do? Just bring them
in? I
in?
have a good understanding of what it was.
So what'd you do? You bring them into your house and what? Just show them YouTube clips, or what'd you do?
No, we just hang out and have the discussions.
Yeah, and how would you convert them? What do you do? Was that your reasoning?
Well, they don't have the real discussions when they grow up in it, which I don't know if a lot of people do in religion. It's not something that I'm in the business of doing very much anymore.
Well, yeah,
they're 19-year-old kids, and they were always good kids, and so the kids I liked would come and we'd just talk.
I got you. And so then, did they steer clear I can imagine that the bishops wouldn't
had any missionaries for a while.
Yeah, I could see how that would really.
It's honestly, I have a lot of friends who are Mormon. I have no problem with it. I'm not religious, so
yeah.
They
got the happy thing figured out, man. Mormons are some of the happiest dudes I've ever been around.
Yeah, I'm all for whatever makes you happy.
Have you seen the Book of Mormon, the musical?
You know what? I haven't. I am going in April.
Yes, it is legit. I saw it like a month or 2 ago, and I actually had Brady Papinga on here shortly after, and he said he would like to see it. He's open to actually viewing the musical.
Well, you got to be open to art.
Well, yeah, it's art. Aren't you? You have like an art studio, is that right?
Yeah, I do.
It's a segue. It's what we call a segue, Cooley.
That's a clean segue right
so
there.
You're a professional broadcaster now, so I'm just trying to get some tips from you. What is your this art deal you have recently opened up?
I've had an art gallery for 6 years now in Leesburg, Virginia, which is where I live and where Northern Virginia, where a lot of the Redskins people live. I was an art major in school. I was going to teach high school art, be coach, and I just had I have a bunch of stuff going on all the time. I'm a potter, so I mean, normal production year is like 2,000 to 3,000 pots that I make.
Jeez.
And so the gallery was a facility for that. It's really not a profitable business. It's not a negative business, but it's also a great deal in the community where we have a bunch of charity events, we do a bunch of cool things for local things like the battered women's shelter and for dog shelters and stuff. I like doing local charities because you see where the money goes, and so the gallery is a facility to do that. But we also sell other artists, and there's some awesome stuff in there, and you get that relationship on that side of things with people. That's really cool.
So you're a potter, so you're doing the pedal and the clay, and you mold it and everything?
That's it, buddy. Just like the movie Ghost.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
That's what everyone asks me.
Everybody, well, not anyone younger than me has never heard of the movie Ghost, so I still know what you're talking about, though. I'm a big Swayze fan, so. What do you do if you're a potter? Did you do it as a kid?
Not a lot. My dad had this beat up old wheel when I was little, and it was just. I didn't do it even really in college. I bought it when I started playing in the NFL, and I started to like it, and so I got way into it. I draw and paint and do all kinds of stuff, but I like making pots. It's fast. It happens fast. Like once you start to get good at it, you start making stuff in 2-3 minutes. Now there's like a whole process to it, but I don't like sitting over it painting or drawing for 10 hours. It's boring.
I'm sure it is, man. So after Utah State, I'm gonna I want to hear about your Redskins days, man. Everybody remembers watching you with your sweet curly hair coming out from underneath your helmet for a while. What year were you drafted?
04.
Your third round pick, is that right?
Yeah, I was a third round pick.
And who was the head coach?
Joe Gibbs was the head coach.
How many years were you there with him?
Joe Gibbs was here for 4 years in D.C. Jim Zorn took over for 2. Mike Shanahan for 4.
Wow.
And now Jay Gruden, who I actually really like here a lot. I think he does a heck of a job. But I was fortunate to be drafted by Joe. It was a throwback for sure. He'd been out of the league for 10 years.
So how was he, like, compared to other coaches now? Like, what was the culture like?
It was tough, for sure. Practices were padded even on Fridays a lot of days. And I didn't know any better because that's what we did. Offensive and defensive periods would be 30 straight plays. Technology was new to them. So on the offensive side of the ball, Joe installed. Greg Williams was the defensive coach. And Joe installed offense for the first couple of years. We really used a computer system. He installed everything on cardstock and Sharpie. So you'd sit to get the game plan and to get the game books. Most of it was done with notes, which I like. That's how I learned. So I thought it was great. They handed stuff out, but even the notes that were handed out, the run scheme was hand drawn and then copied and printed. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I kept all the old game plan stuff from there, and looking back on it, it's a lot of fun. An offensive game plan would consist of no more than 60 total plays written out from start to finish. And that's not even a fifth of what most now are.
Yeah.
Very simplistic, but he was smart. And the thing that I liked about it is we were tough and we knew what we were doing. And so formationally, it'd be different every week. You'd have a shift and you'd have some motions, and then the next week they'd never see that shift. They'd never see that motion. It'd be completely different. Same plays, though. So it seemed more complex, but it was really basic. But guys wanted to play for him, and that was the biggest thing. And you knew, and I don't know how many staffs you had. Do you have a couple or?
Yeah, I had a couple in Green Bay and Cincinnati. Yeah, well, just 2 in Green Bay, and then I played in Cincy. in Atlanta
You
for a
knew
minute.
for sure when a coaching staff and especially the assistant coaches had your back, and when they didn't, and you knew for sure that Joe's group, they all had the players' backs, and so the guys would do anything for him, which was cool.
That's always interesting to me. Like, how do you get a guy? What does he do different that you guys do want to play for him? Although it was old school and you guys are banging every single day, a lot of times if they try that now and the coach doesn't handle it well, you're going to lose the team.
I think you're so right, and I think you have to first of all have the trust of the owner and have the trust that it's going to be more than a 2-year deal. I think Joe chose to retire when Sean Taylor died after that year, but he could have stayed as long as he wanted. After the first year, it came in and said, if you want to leave, come and see me, and I will help you leave. You can go.
He said that to the team or to you?
Yeah, multiple times in team meetings. If you don't want to be part of the team and you don't want to hit and you don't want to practice, then you can leave, and I'll help you. And I have no problem with that. We'll find guys that want to play for this team and want to play this type of football. And within 2 years, the second year, we were a tough team and we were a playoff team, and we'd established a culture. And that was, I think, a lot in his doing. He also really had a good balance, and I think all coaches have to do this. They have to have this good balance and flow between trusting their assistant coaches and letting their assistants handle a lot of the stuff as well, and being the overseeing type of coach. And he did a good job with that as well.
How was Greg Williams? He seems like a lightning rod for people to talk about. He was part of the whole Saints Bounty Gate deal for people that don't know. And I know he's in L.A. now. Who knows? I'm guessing it's up in the air with their new head coach coming in at some point. How was he from your dealings, like with his defense? I know he definitely took pride in those guys trying to be physical.
Well, the Bounty Gate thing was wild because you're talking about $100 bills being handed out, or $500 at the most, to players that are making $200,000-$400,000 a game. Like, it's, oh wow, I'm gonna go after this guy's knee, way out of my way of playing good football, so I get that $100 bill. Yeah. And they weren't really. I didn't know if we had a Bounty Gate or not. I wasn't part of that, but even when I thought of that, I thought that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's a kangaroo court.
Yeah,
I liked Greg Williams a lot, and I know the players really liked Greg. Greg, when he came to me, really would always come to me to give me confidence, tell me we can't cover you in practice. You're blocking really well. I see this tendency in what you're doing when you put your hand down this way. He was smart. He saw a lot of things, and no other defensive coordinator had really come to me at any point in my career after that to tell me some of the things that I was doing or some of the things that he saw and respected. And so Greg let me know that he believed I was a good player, and I really appreciated that coming from him.
Yeah, as a young guy, how does that feel when a D coordinator who's an established good coach, like how did that feel when you were first or second year?
It was, I think, really important for me to hear that from so many places. You don't hear it a lot as an NFL player, especially as a guy that's not in the first or second round, that you can be great or that you are great. You just go to work and they want you to go and compete every day and do your job. And I think there's something to be said for telling players exactly how they stand, and when they do well, that you continue to feed them that confidence that they are doing well. Man, we talked about it. I came from Wyoming. I went to Utah State. I didn't think I was going to play professional football. I had a great senior year and got drafted. So I didn't know this. I didn't have this firm belief that I belonged in the NFL. It took me a year to understand what I can play here too. So to have people around me that believed in me was really important. And it was a good situation as well. Like, you have guys get drafted all the time where guys are ahead of them. It's a right fit, wrong fit. I was an H-back for whatever that means, but I was a move tight end before they really started moving. Mm-hmm. And there weren't a lot of comps for me coming out. And I was also drafted to a team that had the head coach that initiated the H-back. That's Joe Gibbs. He's the first head coach to really utilize a tight end in that way. And that's where the H-back came from. And so I get to come back to play for him with a franchise that doesn't have a starting tight end. And so right away I'm in my role. And that's really fortunate. Like, you have opportunities, but I had great opportunities. And so I feel very lucky to have been where I was.
So after Joe Gibbs was there, what was the transition like? Was it Jim Zorn after that?
Yeah.
How are they different?
Jim Zorn was a please have faith in the things that we do type of coach. And he was a really religious man. But faith doesn't translate to football. in my opinion. And so when you're telling me that I need to have faith and that Bill Walsh did things one way and it was a West Coast system, so we're going to do it that way, I need to be shown why. And a lot of the things that we did, even down to, we want all of our players to dress the same way when we go out to practice and wear our socks the same height at practice and do. Why? I like to wear short shorts because I don't want my shorts over my knees when it's hot, because then the sweat drips into my socks. That's why I'm wearing them. I can tell you why I want to wear these. But you want me to look the same because you think being uniform is what works, but you don't know why. And so that was the biggest difference. Was I think Joe was a guy that understood the players. It was hard. It was really hard. But he was a player's coach in which he let us be ourselves. And I think there's a really fine line, and I don't know how you feel about that. Like, you have to let players be themselves. You also have to manage. Mm-hmm. We're not high school kids. We're not college kids. We're not all on the same playing field, or they're not now.
Yeah.
Everyone's at different status levels, and everyone makes different money. And you have 21-year-old men and you have 37-year-old men, and it's hard to make them all the same. And that was, I think, the mistake that Jim Zorn made.
Yeah, I think the best coaches, they let everybody be individuals. It's fine to, if you want to have your shirt coming out of your jersey a little bit in practice, whatever, it's cool. But you also have to know who's running the show and that he's the boss. And you're not going to walk in late to a team meeting, because I'm sure you've seen it. If they let one guy get away with something, all the young guys will see that, and it's a trickle down, and you'll lose the team. And once a coach loses the team, you can't get him back. Yeah,
there's for sure a level of respect that you had to have for a coach, but there's also a level of respect the coach has to have toward the players to maintain that kind of equilibrium and equal balance between both.
Yeah, I think that's a reason some coaches stay in college, because you can kind of be a dictator in college for 4 years, and the studs are only going to be there 3 years anyway, and they're not there long enough to turn on you really. So it's probably like, I would imagine, like when, I don't know if you knew of anybody that played for Nick Saban his year in Miami. I think he saw what the NFL was like and realized, like, maybe my plan won't work as well up here.
It's got to be so hard. And you're also dealing with kids who are more used to authority and being 18, 19, 20 years old, more used to calling people coach. That was a weird thing, by the way, for me too, coming to the NFL, for my coaches to say, hey, call me Warren, or call me Rennie, call me Jack. It took me a year. It took me a couple of years to call him, but you don't call NFL coaches coach.
It depends where you're at, though. Well, yeah, I guess I'm trying to think through my time. A lot of times I called my coaches by their last name. That's what we would call them. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it depends on the guy. And honestly, though, some coaches, the coaches that are really, you tell me if you would agree, but the coaches that are really insecure and not very good coaches want you to call them coach all the time.
I didn't have very many that needed me to call me coach, but I've had some that were insecure coaches.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, obviously there's nothing black and white, not all of them, but a lot of times it's like the guy that's
yelling. I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
On an NFL level, no one said, no, you'll call me coach. I called the head coach.
Yeah.
That's who I called coach. And after that, I didn't.
Yeah. But when Zorn was there, did you have some like pushback from guys like you or anybody you had to go explain to him why, like you just told us about your shorts? I'm
not a massive pushback guy. He got pushback from a lot of guys. There's some stuff written about Clinton Portis and Zorn and their reactions, and they almost had a fight on the field one day because we were in a walkthrough in late December. It was freezing cold, and he wouldn't take his hands out of his pockets. There was some stuff that went on throughout with everybody, but it just wasn't a good fit, and it was a guy that probably in Jim Zorn would have handled being a head coach differently if he had another opportunity. And you get the idea. I understand. Like, everyone says, if it's your team, you can do it your way.
Yeah.
And he was doing it the way he always had envisioned doing it. It's just sometimes you have to be open-minded that your way might not be the best way.
No, I think you have a great point when you said, just tell me why. Like, you'd be open to doing it if you showed me why we were doing this. It's like when someone tells you, well, why are we doing this? Well, because that's the way it's always been done. That's the way we've always been done. I'm like, that doesn't mean it's the best way, bud. Like,
yeah, but Bill Walsh won championships, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Bill Walsh had Joe Montana.
He was also Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
So I'm still a conform guy, but I was an ask why guy. So tell me why. Ultimately, I'm going to conform because I was proud of what I did, and I understood that they're still paying me a ton of money.
Yeah.
I'm going to work and bleed and do whatever I need to do for this money, but Still would like to know why I'm doing it.
You mentioned Sean Taylor and Joe Gibbs leaving after he retired. Was that a reason that he retired after Sean Taylor was killed?
I think it was one of the big reasons.
Were him and Sean, were they really close, or how'd that go?
Yeah, I think Joe was really close with a lot of his players, and I think he was really close with Sean as well, and it really hurt him, for sure, to have that happen. And I know that he had went to Miami when Sean was in the hospital in the last day, and it was a hard experience for him. And I think the NFL just in general is amazing, and it's hard on coaches. I've been around Joe Gibbs when he's at his NASCAR, as the owner of his NASCAR team. He's another person. As a coach, he was anxiety ridden as an NFL head coach. Would not leave the facility. We lost 3 games in a row, and he said after the third, he said, "I'm not going to leave the facility until we win another football game." Slept there.
Jeez.
Made his other coaches sleep there. It's unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah, that's why. I mean, those guys.
Here's a good one. I won't tell you the coach's name, but we had coaches that didn't want to leave the meetings because Joe was in the meetings. So one of our coaches would bring in Ziploc bags and piss in Ziploc bags so he didn't have to get up to ask to go to the bathroom.
Has the guy ever heard of Gatorade bottles?
He was the Ziploc bag guy. Drank too much iced tea.
So then who holds the bags full of piss?
I guess someone carries them out. We'll zip them up.
I feel sorry for that dude. You know he's spilling on the edges. He's not zipping that up perfectly.
I would assume if I was Ziploc bagging it, I would at least carry him out.
You would hope so. Yeah, you would hope he would have the decency to not try to hand him off to an intern. Wow. So why didn't you didn't ever think about going into coaching?
I would love to go into coaching, but I mean, you just saw my daughter was in here. Those guys work 80 hours a week, minimum, 100, lots of them. You're traveling. Doing a radio show where I get done at 11 o'clock and I can come home and watch film and do whatever I want to do to get ready for my show from my house. At some point, I think I would really like to, and it would have to be the right situation. But I love football more than ever now than when I played it, and the scheme of it and what it is. It's an intelligent game, and that's what I like about it. It's a chess match, I think, on the coaching side, and it's also that psychology game that you'd have to play with players that I like. I think there's some smarts that go into that. Managing people would be a lot of fun, but the time commitment is incredible.
Oh, and you have to move around. I mean, if you want to advance, you never know. You might move 5 or 6 times.
At least.
Yeah, you host.
That'd be so hard.
That'd be terrible. I see it now. I've been doing some like serious radio stuff, and I talk to these different college coaches and all the guys up for bigger jobs. I'm like, man, they gotta, like, a lot of them are young with young kids, and you have to take them with you. I don't know, man. It's just
they don't see them.
Yeah, never.
Friday afternoons, but I got one of my buddies is coaching for the Redskins now. Has 3 young kids, and they have date night on Friday, so he still doesn't see his kids. Like he has to see his wife too.
Yeah.
So it's got to be so hard. It's 3 kids under 5, and you're not around them that much. They change. They're cool at that age. My daughter's cool at 2. You see something every day where you think, wow, this is awesome. So to miss that would be really hard.
Oh, no doubt, man. That's why I know what's called the Cooley and Kevin show. You do that daily?
Yeah. 4 hours every morning, 7 to 11 every morning.
You don't record from your house, do you?
Not right just yet.
You're going to? Oh, so you guys.
Actually, I work out of I'm still working out of Redskins Park. Our radio studio is at Redskins Park.
That's what I thought. I've seen like pictures of it when you guys have guests on. It looks like you're there. Like, so where is that? Like by the locker room?
It's just right when you walk in. It's like the first door when you walk in.
Wow. So are you like lifting with those guys and showering and everything there?
I don't try to get in the way of the players, which is actually why it's great when the off season starts for me. Because now I can. Like now the locker room, the state, and they've renovated it all. It's a nice building now. It wasn't when I played. It was really actually bad, probably the worst in the league when I played.
Yeah.
But I'm still there, so it's the weight room's there. I got a laundry loop, which is great.
It's like you're still playing. You go get to take a steam probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Steam. There's a new sauna built in there. Hot and cold tub in the training room. But honestly, more importantly, I played for one organization, and so all of my friends work there. Yeah. Our trainers, our video people, our management, our scouts, all of my closest friends work out of Redskins Park. or most of them.
So it's a
So I
natural.
see it's still a job where I can see my friends every day.
That's awesome. Do you have a relationship with Dan Schneider, the owner?
Yeah, I really like him.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good guy. I think he's a good-hearted guy, and he's had a bad image because he hasn't won. And in 20 years, the Redskins haven't had back-to-back playoff years, which they were close to this year and didn't. And for the most part, for the first 15 of them, he didn't go about it the right way. I think he understands that.
What did he do wrong?
I would perceive it as what you would call the 2-year plan, the 2-year Super Bowl plan. We're going to get a bunch of young guys, and we're going to get a bunch of older veterans, and we're going to have the older veterans train the younger guys, and in 2 years we're going to be talented enough to win a Super Bowl. And if we don't, we're in trouble. Where it went wrong is ultimately that the older veteran players don't necessarily care as much as they did 20 years ago, because the money that you make as a 12-year vet is dynamically different than the money that was made. Dynamically different than the money that was made in the 80s and 90s. Those guys were playing for nothing compared to what they're playing for now. If you make it to 8, 9, 10, you've been making a lot of money. So that's kind of the way I look at it. It's few and far between the guys that play 10 years come in gung-ho, die hard, ready to play football.
So then would Dan Snyder, if it didn't work after those 2 years, just blow the whole system up and get new players and new coaches?
This is an easy one to track back, even on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I guess you could. See, I'm not a historian.
The Redskins?
I don't know as much about the Redskins, but I do know a little. I mean, I guess I'm
the
a
Redskins
casual.
in the Schneider area, in the Schneider era, have not paid a head coach a second contract.
Really? So when's Jay Gruden up then?
And this is his 3rd year, so he has 2 left.
He's got to be the guy. It's got to be him.
I would fully endorse Jay Gruden
as
a head coach. I know him well. I know the players know him and like him. I know he fits in as a head coach of the Redskins. He does things the right way.
Yeah, I was in Cincinnati for a year, and those guys that played with Jay loved him. When he was the offensive coordinator there, man, I mean, they said they really enjoyed playing for him. But what are they going to do with Kirk Cousins then? I'm sure you're talking about this on your show lately. Like, are they going to give him a $180 million contract? What do they do?
Isn't that incredible?
Jeez.
I mean, it's just incredible that we're going to negotiate the $100 million more. If I just got the 100, I'd be good. There's some options there. This gets really interesting because you start talking about, okay, well, what's it going to be percentages on the cap years 1 through 5? What's the cap going up to? How much do we guarantee him? Honestly, I think the Andrew Luck deal is probably the benchmark for what Kirk's going to be willing to settle at, which is, I think, $122 million, $87 in guarantees.
Jeez.
$47 in day one guarantees. Where it gets interesting, though, is I don't know if they'll pay that, but there's the franchise tag that you can use, a non-exclusive franchise tag, which means if another team gives up 2 first-rounders, they can negotiate a contract with that player. If that contract qualifies, which means the player signs it, the current team can still match that contract. So, i.e., let's say the Denver Broncos want Kyle Shanahan, who loves Kirk. He brought him here, was drafted by the Shanahans. And the Broncos are willing to work out a contract for $115 million, give up 2 first-rounders. The Redskins can then trump it and say, we'll pay you $115. So you let another team dictate the market. The risk would be, if no one gave that offer, you pay another franchise tag, which no one wants. Bad on the Redskins cap, bad on Kirk Cousins. So there's some interesting things that could play out. I wouldn't be surprised to see him tagged again. They'll continue to see if they could, 1, have that deal or have that offer, or 2, work something out by July under a tag again.
Yeah,
I
could see him tagging them again. I can't imagine. Is there any team that would give up 2 first-round picks?
Well, yeah, there is, because a team gave up first-round picks for Goff this year, and a team gave up a first-round pick for Sam Bradford this year, and the Redskins gave up 3 first-round picks for Robert Griffin 4 years ago. And
man, I can't believe that.
It's incredible. But if you look at it in the way, like, say the Denver Broncos, it's just an example. There are a bunch of teams, but what do they have, the 18th, 19th this year? And if you get a starting quarterback, they have the best defense and by far the best against the pass of anyone in the league. You would hope to have a playoff team for sure. So you're giving up 2 late firsts for a starting quarterback? I would do that.
Yeah, good point.
And he's, by the way, he's under a lot of criticism here for a bad game against the Giants. He's a heck of a football player, and he's growing, and he's going to be a good player in this league. That's a given. He's a given commodity.
You're right. When you put it that way, I would definitely be willing, because I would assume you would agree that if you don't have a quarterback, you have no chance of winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, you barely
proved that this year.
Yeah, I mean, they went from Super Bowl champs to out of the playoffs, and their defense. I've never seen a defense take over in the playoffs like they did last year.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, so you're right.
So yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know if a team. I don't know. Let's say if the Cleveland Browns would give up the first pick of the draft, and then next year's probably top 10 pick. I don't know if you'd end up doing that. There's too much value in those picks when it comes to if someone else wants to trade up to give you way more.
Yeah.
But I think a team would give up 2 middle picks, and then it would be on what they'd offer. It'd get scary if they offered $160 million, and the Redskins didn't want to pay it. You can't. I don't think they can afford to lose the guy. I wouldn't lose him.
Yeah,
he's a good dude too. That's the thing about Kirk Cousins. Like, he's the first guy in the building. He really studies. He works. The guys like him. The coaches like him. You don't want to lose him.
Yeah, he seems to do all the right things that you would want your franchise quarterback doing. What happened with RG3? Why didn't it work out? I played against him a few times.
Well, did you watch the Browns film this year? Can you get the All-22?
I've seen a decent amount.
Well, he said today that he proved everybody wrong.
Did he really? I'm not up on that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that came out today that they had proved everybody wrong and that he's excelled.
Played
5 games this year.
What did he prove though? What were people saying? Like, that he's done?
I guess.
And so he said, "I'm back. Pay me $122 million."
He just didn't play good football. Then, for us or for them, he had one really incredible year, and it was special. And he was good in 2012. And it was an offense that Carolina's still running, and a lot of teams still effective with. Buffalo Bills have run. Kansas City shown signs of read option. Seattle does it. I think it's an effective scheme. But if you can't convert on third down as a quarterback and second down and distance, you can't be a great player in this league. And that's why some of those guys are better. Cam, Tyrod, they've been doing a pretty good job on third down. Robert hasn't.
Yeah, like
he took 18 sacks in 3.5 games, basically.
Man, see, like when quarterbacks run like that, it you can have it, but it can't be your staple. Like, it can be a change-up, so the defense has to worry about it. But if it's your staple, you can't. Once you become your franchise quarterback, they don't want you running the ball 14 times a game.
And I think the biggest problem, I would agree with that for sure. I think the biggest problem that Robert had with injury wasn't read option, though. It was his unawareness in the pocket. And as he scrambled, you're offensive tackle, you're going to set a pocket depth between 7 and 10 yards, and you got to know where your quarterback's going to be. And as he scrambled back behind that pocket depth, you never know where you're going to get hit from. And so he's taking hits in the pocket that he can't see coming. Read option stuff, the quarterback and slider, you can usually make a judgment and see the hit coming. I think a lot of the scariness is if you don't have a quarterback that can really feel his way around the pocket or can operate off schedule like Russell Wilson, you're going to get a guy hurt. Players are too big and fast. You're going to get hurt if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it happened right off the bat in Cleveland. But didn't Shanahan and RG3 have like a falling out? It seemed like they kept meeting with there's all this public stuff that kept coming out, like, we're meeting, we're not, we're talking, and then it was weird.
Yeah, it's been documented now, and Mike's talked about it. At the end of his rookie season, he came in, called a meeting with Mike, Kyle, and Matt LaFleur, the quarterback's coach at the time, went and got up on the whiteboard and said, like, this is what I'm not going to do. This is what we're going to be. This is like 3 statements, and then went through this whole thing. He's coming off his rookie year, telling Mike Shanahan what it's going to be.
Like what? Like their
I
offense?
Think at that point, Mike probably went to the owner and said, "You got to be kidding me." And he said, like, this is unacceptable. Read option is unacceptable.
Oh gosh.
So there just became this crazy, I don't know if I can coach this guy. And
I could see how that would cause a rift.
If I were the head coach, I would be upset that I gave up all those picks, or that our organization had.
Yeah, what was Shanahan like? He's always been known as like a player's coach.
He is one of my favorite guys to this day as a coach outside of the locker room, but I think a hard guy to play for. Avoided confrontation a lot of times as a coach. Let things go passively further than they probably should go. So I didn't necessarily love playing for Mike. He was also one of those you never know where you stand kind of guys. Mm-hmm. And that was tough.
So would he just not hold guys accountable?
As soon as it's not necessarily that. It was like some weird. I'll give you some good examples. Like Donovan McNabb was benched in a game and in a 2-minute situation, and Rex Grossman went in, and Mike said that Donovan was not in good enough cardiovascular shape. Yeah. But you know Rex. So everyone's like, what is going on here?
I remember that.
Between him and Donovan, and then Donovan came back the next week, and Mike said, well, Rex is going to take a couple reps, and then all of a sudden Rex is the starter. Donovan has no clue what's going on. It was just kind of a little bit, at times, with key players in your organization, I don't want to call it underhanded. Because it wasn't. It was just, you need to have this man-to-man conversation of, just tell me that I'm not going to play for you, or tell me that you don't like me in this aspect, or whatever it went. So I love Mike, and I'm saying this because I actually like Mike a lot. And as soon as we'd walk out, I'd go have beers with Mike tonight, and we'd have a great time. I think he's a good dude. I really do. I will say this about him: it is the smartest offense, what he created, of any offense in football. And Kyle's proving that right now in Atlanta. But the offense that the Shanahans run is the best offense that I've ever been a part of, and taught me more about the game of football than anything I've done combined in my football career. So a lot of respect out of that kind of situation to Mike. Like, he'd be a guy I'd probably love to coach for if he were a coach. It's hard to play for.
Why is it the best? Like, what do they do different than the others?
Everything ties extremely well. It's, in my opinion, a great run-pass combination. The zone run scheme in this NFL world, if you can get guys all to work together and you're back to read it right, is the easiest run scheme to block, realistically. You don't have to move guys vertically. You can move laterally and stay square. It makes linebackers run. It makes safeties run. It creates a lot in the play-action game. It allows Boot to control the edge. And then after that, I thought really it was just smart how you piece and word your verbiage of your pass game to just kind of all fit.
So it all like it's what?
It was well-rounded, but it taught your players to kind of understand it in its entirety.
And it taught you like why you're doing or why you're playing. This is why it's called this, because it ties into another term that is. Yeah, I understand. It's hard to explain, but the best ones do that.
Yeah, and when you start coaching offense, if you can have a reason that, for example, I'm a tight end, which is a Y, or could be a Y, or could be a T, or Y. It teaches you that you're a Y, but you might have to learn what Z does on every route. And if you don't, you really can't operate. And you might have to learn what X does on this one. And it was a good offense. It really is a good offense, and it's a great mix of run pass that keeps defenses off balance to some extent, makes them run.
Now, who was the coach when you had an unfortunate incident with your blog? You were posting something on your blog from your playbook or something?
Joe Gibbs.
Yeah. So what happened there?
I was the first person to have a blog, by the way.
Yeah, I wasn't like in what year was that?
06, maybe?
You were way ahead of your time.
Something like that. 05, 06.
You were way ahead of your time.
07. Yeah, it was before Twitter. For sure.
Yeah.
So, I was doing it with my brother, and we were all excited, and we were doing these posts. We tried to do something every day, quick, and I'd had this funny notebook stuff that was getting ready for the game, but had some funny notes. And my brother's like, bro, you got to post that. And I'd just gotten out of the shower, so I sat down at the desk. Probably, actually, the year it was probably a real camera. I probably had to like plug it into the computer and upload the photo.
Wow.
But I was in a hurry. So, and then everyone says, I actually had to do like an NFL security investigation on that.
You did?
So I'll finish the story. So I take a picture. Everyone knows the story. I take a picture. First of all, don't take a picture of your junk bent over, hunched over all weird. No one knows that's going to go. That's not going to go well at all. Promise. That's not what you want to do. It just makes the bottom middle of the picture.
Promise. Okay.
I put it up, and then I went and played a game, which meant it stayed all day. All day. Because my brother was at the game. We were the only two that were involved in it. And we get out, and finally driving home, I get like my phone. I have 100 texts. What are you doing? So yeah, it was a mistake. But they come the next week, the NFL security, like they're gonna find me, and we have this side meeting, which I've actually heard from some people in the organization because they taped the meeting.
Oh man!
So people that I know in the organization. Oh no, it was great. I basically stood up and I'm like, hey, F you. I'm not going to – I just ripped them.
Really?
Yeah, they're wasting an hour of my time in the middle of the day. Like, I think you and your buddies were all up to this and you were trying to get hits on your website. I'm like, my mom looks at that website, man. My grandma loves it. She's on it every day. She probably wouldn't see that, but –
Jeez. You could have told him what – I mean, if I was trying to get hits, wouldn't I have tried to work it up a little bit and take a better angle?
Dude, exactly what I said.
Did you?
Like, who wouldn't chub it up, try to look awesome?
I mean, yeah.
And then I told my brother I was going to do that. He was working for the blog, or he was doing everything at the time. He said, "I'll quit if you do that." I swear, I'll quit.
So you literally? So I see. I haven't seen the picture. I'm sure you took it down, but I'm sure it's screenshotted out there.
Oh, I'm sure you can find it.
What was it? Not real noticeable that you had your dong just in the corner?
It's dark. It's in the bottom. Like it's in the bottom. There's this. If the picture is, let's say, 4 inches, it's in the bottom, like, quarter-inch gap of the picture between a desk and.
Okay, so you were sitting down with a book on your lap?
Yeah, sitting down. I sat down at a desk in a chair, hunched over so I could take the picture.
Oh, fresh out of the shower, and you didn't even think that something could have slipped into the picture.
No, I got a text like, hey, can you post this thing that we were going to post today? Because I'd forgotten to, and I was getting all my stuff together to go to the game. Really, it's a perfect example of why players need someone to monitor all their social media. Now, I want to start a company that monitors players' Twitters.
Like before they send something out, you guys screen everything?
Yeah, like I could go work for a team. A team would employ me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a simple app you'd create, or a simple deal that you could create that anyone, as soon as they do something, it sends to your guy. They run through it and go, yes, no, you could fix this, you could not. You might want to think about it.
No, you might want to think about it. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
And then worst case is you're not telling them they can't do it, but worst case is you get it and you go to the team. And you're like, I don't think he should do this. He's going to do this. So here, it's there.
Good luck.
Look at social media very often. Teams PR don't.
See, that's shocking to me. I always assumed anything that I put out that they see everything. Why do they not? And I mean, I guess they would probably only do if like a local beat writer was like, "Oh man, do you see Cooley's dong pic?"
Yeah.
So that's probably the only. Yeah. Why wouldn't? I mean, I would. I think if I was running the team, I would really closely monitor what's going on with my team, because guys definitely will. Like right now, we have going on at the time we record this. Like people are all up in arms that the Giants, like receivers, I think went down to Miami and took a picture on a boat during their off day. Did you see that?
That just come out.
Yeah, like they got done Sunday, I guess, and they flew straight to Miami. Like I don't know, 5 or 6 of them, and they supposedly were out at Miami clubs, and then they posted a picture on their own Instagrams, I guess, on a boat somewhere, and people are freaking out, like, "Oh, can you imagine this?" and asking Ben McAdoo. And I think Ben said, "Well, yeah, players are off today. It's their off day."
Yeah, it is their off day. But if you were managing their social media account, wouldn't you explain to them very clearly, this is actually going to generate a negative response?
Yeah, you could tell them don't post it. I wouldn't tell them don't go on the trip. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's an off day. It's a quick flight back. I don't care. Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, but definitely like posting it does like bring something that you have to talk about that you don't need the team and your teammates are going to have to answer for, basically.
Hey, did you talk to Odell about, not working out on his off day? Yeah, he was in Miami. Do you think he cares? No, it's incredible how fans view that. If you're not working all day, every day, You're not a good football player.
100%.
Hey, you know what? I showed up at 7 o'clock. I got a workout in, got some breakfast, met until 1, had a walkthrough, came back, had a quick meeting, practiced from 3 to 5. I think I did enough.
What's something that you think fans would be distraught to hear that is like what players do in their off time?
Distraught to hearing what they do in their off time?
Yeah, because people like eat up the fact
That's why I quit doing the blog.
What's that?
That's why I quit doing the website stuff.
Because the people try to say, you need to just, why aren't you lifting weights and studying film?
I just got tired of hearing that.
That's the craziest thing, because people, just because you put it out there and you're doing something that's actually very productive. I'm like, you should tell them, like, hey, do you know 98% of the guys on my team are playing PlayStation all night long? That's like, I mean, that's what most players do in their free time, is they play Xbox, PlayStation, and then a lot of other stuff.
And by the way, 62% of those 98 are high while they do it.
Maybe 80%. Yeah.
I'd actually rather have, if I were running an organization, I'd rather have them choose that method of intoxication over the alcohol method.
100%.
Even though it's not my preference, I would rather drink beer, but I'd rather have my players.
Yeah, it's hard to drink 12 beers and get up and practice the next day, though.
Well, that actually does take some practice, but you know.
Well, you're a throwback, man. You're old school.
I got pretty good at that.
You're like Joe Gibbs. That's why Joe Gibbs loved you. You're a throwback.
He didn't want to hear about that.
Really?
No.
Did any of your coaches want to hear about that, though?
Mike Shanahan didn't care.
Really? As long as you were professional, you showed up?
Yeah.
That's I think the coolest thing about the NFL is that it doesn't, as long as you're there and you're on time and you do your job and it doesn't, whatever you're doing in your personal life doesn't spill onto the field, nobody cares.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Just show up and work hard here.
Why don't you go? But if you posted more pictures and videos on your Twitter and Instagram of you working out and doing pull-ups and talking about how hard you're grinding, then the fans will think you're doing a really good job and working really, really hard, aren't they?
I love grinding, man. It's amazing.
Please don't. Do you use that term on your radio show? Oh, this guy's just grinding every single day.
No. Unless it's out of sarcasm, I will never use the term grind.
That is the most overused term over the last year or two. Because hashtag grinding. Yep. Okay, bud. Good job. Like,
my brother-in-law is going to be a senior in high school next year.
Yeah.
I get all the new terms.
Do you?
I'll tell you the one I don't like right now.
What is it?
When something's cool or looks good, it's now tough.
Tough?
Yeah. We saw a car he liked the other day. He said, "Oh, that truck's so tough."
And he was serious?
Yeah, he said it on about 3 or 4 different things.
That's tough. See, I don't know.
You're going to start hearing that.
My 6-year-old might start saying that soon. Okay.
I don't like that one.
No, that one's there's whatever, man. I guess whatever. You got to stay. I might start saying that then. I might steal that, because then I'm like then I'm ahead of the times, right? If I use it here in Ohio amongst my old friends, then they're like, man, you were really up on the times, weren't you, AJ?
Well, that's so East Coast. I love it.
So East Coast. All right, man. I'm going to wrap this thing up and let you roll. Get back to your little 2-year-old daughter. Is that your only kid?
Yeah.
That's awesome. You like being a dad?
It's the best thing in the world. I love it. I was ready for it. Yeah, I can tell you do as well. So. Oh yeah,
number 4 is on the way. So I'm ready.
Nice, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. They get excited. Actually, that's good, because I think I knew you had a daughter. I knew you had a kid, and so my 6-year-old, I came up here to record, and so I'm gonna go do a podcast. I'll be back in a little bit. I said, don't worry, and I always sell it to them. Like, oh, Dad, we want to play. I'm like, I'll be right back. Don't worry. I'm gonna ask them about their kids, and if they have a daughter, my guest, my kids get so pumped. My daughter especially, like, oh, okay, Dad, go, hurry up, go do your podcast. Make sure, ask about his daughter. Tell him about me. I'm like, I'll make sure to do that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so it's great. It's like your blogs. Like, your daughter will be able to read your old blog someday.
Some of it.
Are they still up?
Yeah.
Did the team ever have an issue with that? Did they ever come to you?
No. I never had a problem with it at all. Most of my stuff was pretty harmless.
Well, it should be, but I just feel like anything that's not. Some coaches feel like anything that is not directly related to this football team, they don't want you doing outside of the facility.
No, I would agree with that. No, it's pretty harmless. So no one had any issue with any of the stuff that I had done. But I don't know if anyone really, like I said, I had the first blog, so I don't know if anyone really understood what I was doing. To be honest, I didn't understand what I was doing for the first year. I didn't know what a blog was when someone said that we are going to do a blog.
What made you do it then?
My little brother wanted to do it. We did it together.
You felt like it was a way to connect with people, or just because you're an artist? I guess it's art, bro.
Yeah, it wasn't really art, but It was cool. I actually really enjoyed it. I should do it more.
I think you should do it. I think you should start another. Like, do you need to start now that people will love?
I could do the same blog. It's still available.
Yeah, do a vlog, video blog. Would you feel weird? I've heard.
I had a lot of videos on my blog.
Okay.
A lot of videos. We did a lot of video stuff.
I know a couple people that do vlogs, and they're really cool. And every once in a while, you're thinking, "Oh, that'd be cool to do it," but I just don't have it in me to carry a camera around like this on me. Like, oh, here I am at the grocery store. Like, I just can't walk into a place, video myself. I'm not. I guess I'm just not. It's not.
Yeah,
me.
they got to be thoughtful.
Yeah. They
got to be good videos. You got to be planned out.
But then you got to go edit them together, put them together, and condense it so it's actually like, yeah. And
I still can't do that.
No, but there's got to be someone. Fiverr. You ever heard of the website Fiverr could do it?
You've told me a lot of things that I've really got to think about.
It's tough, bro. It's tough. All right, man. Chris Cooley,
Thanks,
really
dude.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah.
We're glad you could join us for today's conversation. After you subscribe to the show, head over to thehawkcast.com or reach out to AJ directly on Twitter at @officialAJHawk to recommend future guests that will help us inspire people to keep talking. Thanks again, and we look forward to speaking with you next time on the HawkCast.